Sarah Miller stood in the dim foyer of her ancestral home, a tired crease in her brow as she surveyed the dilapidated Victorian mansion. Sunlight spilled through veiled windows, casting long shadows that danced across the floor, a reminder of the secrets held within the walls. She had inherited this house, a crumbling monument to a family history she had never truly known, just months after burying her father. The loss was a raw ache, one that settled deeper with every creak of the house, each sigh of the weary structure. Each room echoed with silence, broken only by a distant, peculiar bell toll that seemed to resonate from her very chest whenever she found herself alone. It was disquieting, a rhythmic chime that whispered of lost moments and hidden sorrows. She moved slowly through the house, dust motes swirling in the sunlight, her fingers trailing over the faded wallpaper and the tarnished banisters, feeling connected yet distant from the lives that had once filled this space. But it was the oddity of the upstairs layout that unsettled her most. There was a wall, a stubborn, inexplicable wall that obstructed the flow of the upstairs hallway, entirely absent from the blueprint she had gingerly unfolded from a dusty drawer in the study. Its presence felt deliberate, a block to something that lingered just beyond reach. At night, sleep came fitfully, if at all. Unnatural sounds would weave through the fabric of her dreams, soft, insistent scratching, the echo of a sigh, flashes of shadows moving in the periphery. Each noise seemed to curl from the locked door at the end of the corridor, a forgotten room that beckoned her with all the allure of a cursed treasure. Driven by an insatiable curiosity and a growing sense of dread, Sarah began to search through her family's past, sifting through boxes of dusty letters and faded photographs. As she read the brittle pages, the truth took shape, a haunting narrative of a long-lost relative, shrouded in mystery, whose fate had been silenced beneath layers of family shame. Tragedies that had been buried within the familial silence whispered to her from the ink of the past, each tale heavier than the last. With each discovery, the bell within her chest rang louder, a relentless reminder that pain and history were intertwined in ways she was only beginning to comprehend. What had her family hidden? What were they so desperate to keep buried? As shadows pooled at the corners of the mansion, Sarah sensed she was on the brink of something profound and horrifying. One night, after hours of restless searching, she sat cross-legged on the floor of the dusty attic, surrounded by relics of her family's lost history. A sudden thud from the locked room made her heart leap. Was it mere imagination, or was the house itself alive with the weight of its secrets? The bell tolled in her chest again, louder, richer with foreboding. A dark truth lay waiting just beneath the surface, and Sarah knew that to discover the soul of her family, she must confront the shadows that loomed within her own heart. What awaited her past that door? Was it salvation or despair? Sarah sat in the attic, her heart racing. The house felt alive. Every creak and groan echoed the fear that built in her chest. The sudden thud from the locked room sent her pulse into overdrive. What was that? She whispered to herself. The silence wrapped around her, heavy and expectant. She stood, hesitating. The bell in her chest rang louder, almost pleading. She moved toward the door at the end of the hallway. Just a door, she said, firming her resolve. Just a door. She stood before it, her fingers trembling over the brass handle. It felt cold, like death. "You can do this," she muttered, pushing her weight against it, but the door held still, stubborn and defiant. "Let me in!" she shouted, frustration pouring out. It felt silly, yet liberating. No answer came, just an uneasy silence. Then she heard footsteps behind her. She turned, startled. It was her brother, Tom. He squinted at her from the dim light. "Sarah, what are you doing up here?" "Listening," she said. "Did you hear that sound?" He shrugged. "Sounds like your imagination. We got our dad's junk everywhere. It gets to you. Let's go downstairs." "No," she said sharply. "I need to know what's behind this door. It's important." Tom stepped closer, concern in his eyes. "It's just an old room. Nothing's back there. Just let it be." She shook her head. "You don't understand. I have to know." "Sarah," his voice was low, "you don't want to dig into this. Trust me." "Why?" He paused, as if weighing his words. Family stuff. We don't need that. You know how Dad was. He wasn't right about everything, she shot back. What really happened to Grandma? What did you hide? Tom flinched. Don't bring Mom into this. Mom? This ain't about Mom. This is about you, about us, about where we came from. He folded his arms. Sometimes it's best left alone. Sarah stepped forward, eyes narrowed. What are you afraid of? Tom avoided her gaze. Nothing. Just don't. She huffed, frustration bubbling. Enough. I'm not backing down. She reached for the door again. Suddenly the bell inside her chest tolled hard, rattling her. I will open it. Stop! He shouted. You don't know what you'll find. But she was moving. She pulled and yanked at the handle. It resisted. With one final shove, she pressed her shoulder against it. The door groaned, then swung open with a violent creak. The room was dark and musty. It smelled like something long forgotten. Sarah stepped through, heart racing. Tom stood frozen in the hallway. No, don't! Too late, she whispered. She felt the space close in around her and flicked on the light. Dust particles hung in the air like tiny stars. Old furniture draped in white sheets loomed like ghosts. The tension sat thick. What is this? She breathed. The room was a time capsule, untouched, filled with the past. A mirror caught the light, and she stepped closer, wiping the dust away. An old portrait hung beside it. A woman stared back, her expression stern, yet strikingly familiar. Sarah, that's enough, Tom yelled, panic rising. Who is she? She asked, confused but drawn to the woman's eyes. Just someone. Let it go. Why does she look like me? Because she doesn't— Whoa! Tom stumbled backward. A sudden brightness filled the room, blinding her. A loud clang rang out, rattling the walls. A trunk in the far corner burst open, spilling its contents onto the floor. What the hell? Tom shouted, his voice cracking. Old letters, yellowed and stained, fluttered like fallen leaves. A small diary tumbled out. Tom! Sarah called, scrambling to pick up the diary. What did you do? He shrieked, his voice rising. I didn't do anything, look! She opened it, pages flapping as they revealed scrawled handwriting, frantic and desperate. This is— She stopped. The last entry read, I can't protect them from the truth any longer. The bell will ring for one of them. The darkness will come for us all. Sarah, Tom's voice turned low, almost broken. No. What does that mean? A thundering shook the entire house. The lights flickered and faded. Shadows crept closer, consuming the walls. Get back! Tom shouted, pushing her aside. The door slammed shut behind them with a deafening bang. No, let me out! Sarah cried, but they were trapped. Tom's face went pale. We need to go back. It's not safe here. What have you done? He whispered. What have you brought back? The bell inside her chest rang wildly. It was as if it was summoning something dark and terrible. Look! She cried, pointing to the mirror. The reflection rippled and twisted. There, in that darkness, she saw a figure move, a shadow. What is that? I don't know, Tom screamed. The door rattled as if something was trying to get in. We have to run, he shouted, backing away. But instead, Sarah stepped forward. She felt a pull, a connection. It's calling to me. Stop, he shouted, panic spilling from every word. Don't! Before she could turn back, the shadow lunged forward and the room plunged into darkness. They were not alone anymore. The shadows swirled in the dim light of the room. Sarah and Tom stood frozen, the air thick with tension. The door slammed behind them, sealing their fate. What just happened? Tom shouted, his voice high with panic. I don't know, Sarah replied, stepping back. The darkness felt alive. We have to get out. Before they could reach the door, the mirror flickered with unusual light. It glowed, drawing their attention. Sarah, don't. Stay back, Tom urged. But she couldn't move. The shadow inside the mirror twisted and turned, almost beckoning. I need to see. Are you crazy? Tom grabbed her arm, pulling her away. We can't just stand here. I have to know, she yelled, shaking him off. Stop, he said. There's something wrong here. You feel it, don't you? The bell inside her chest rang louder, almost drowning out his words. I can't shake it off. It's like it needs us, like it's calling to me. Another loud thud shook the room. Dust rained down from the ceiling. Tom stumbled back, hitting the wall. Sarah, he yelled. Tom! she shouted back. Before she could reach him, the door behind them rattled violently. The sound echoed, desperate and hungry. "Let's go now," Tom urged, his face pale. "No," she pointed at the mirror. "Look." The reflection pulsed. A face appeared in the glass. A woman, her features sharp and familiar. "Who is she?" Sarah whispered, stepping closer. "I don't know. This isn't right," Tom shouted, backing away further as the woman began to smile eerily. "Sarah?" He gulped, panic rising. Just as she reached the mirror, it burst outward, the glass shattering in a violent explosion. Sarah raised her arms to shield herself. "What the hell?" she screamed. From the shards, a swirling mass jumped out, forming into the shadow they had just seen. It lunged at Sarah, grabbing her arm. "Get away from her!" Tom cried, shoving the shadow back, but it was too strong. The darkness wrapped around Sarah, pulling her into its depths. Tom lunged forward, trying to grab her. "Help!" Sarah screamed, the cold grip tightening. "Hold on!" Tom yelled, reaching for her, fingers just out of reach. The shadow obscured her face, pulling her further away. "I can't hold on much longer," she shouted. Tom's heart raced. He grabbed an old lamp from the floor and swung it at the shadow, but it just dissolved into more darkness. "Damn it!" he yelled. He couldn't let this happen. "Tom, please!" Sarah gasped as the shadow began to draw her into its core. "Hang on!" He moved closer, his breath coming in quick gasps. "Tom!" she cried, her eyes wide with terror. "I can't breathe!" He pushed against the force, desperate. "Let her go!" he shouted, fury rising with each second. The shadow halted, and suddenly a blinding light erupted around Sarah. She screamed, but then with a loud crack, the shadow released her, tossing her onto the floor. Stunned, she lay there, gasping. Tom rushed to her side. "Are you okay?" She coughed. "What just happened?" "I don't know," Tom said, scanning the room, anxiety sewn into his voice. "But it's not over. She was in the mirror," Sarah gasped, trembling. "That woman, she looked like me." "I don't care who she looked like," he said sharply. "We need to get out. Now." "What if she comes back?" Sarah whispered, fear gripping her. Just then, a low growl rumbled from the dark corners of the room. The light flickered dangerously. "Did you hear that?" Tom said, eyes wide. "Yeah," she whispered, heart racing. "Get up. We need to get out now." He pulled her to her feet, but as they moved towards the door, the wall behind the mirror started to crack. Splintering sounds filled the air. "Not again!" Tom yelled, pushing Sarah forward. Then the wall burst open, revealing a hidden compartment. A trunk lay inside, ancient and covered in dust. "Leave that!" Tom shouted. "We can't focus on anything else." But Sarah was already at the trunk, lifting its heavy lid. "What's in here?" she breathed, peering inside. "No!" Tom shouted. "Don't!" Before he could grab her, she pulled out an old photo album. Dust billowed into the air, and the cover creaked open. "Do you see that?" Sarah's face paled. "That's Mom and Dad." "And?" Tom snapped, shifting nervously. "They're smiling," she said, "like they were happy. But why is Grandpa here? And this woman—" Tom edged closer. "What's her name?" Sarah flipped through the pages, heart pounding. "I don't know. I've never seen her before." Suddenly the trunk began to shake violently. "Get back!" Tom shouted, but they didn't move. Instead, they stared as the dark energy grew. The space warped and twisted. The top of the trunk exploded outward, sending papers and photos flying everywhere. "What is happening?" Sarah yelled, pulling away as the air turned cold. "Run!" Tom screamed, but it was too late. Shadows poured out, swirling around them like a tempest. They reached for Sarah, pulling her back into the dark. "Help!" she screamed, clawing the air. "Sarah!" Tom lunged forward, desperation surging through him. "No!" The shadows snatched her, and with one last echoing scream, she disappeared completely. "Sarah!" he cried, heart racing. He felt the chill return, wrapping around him, squeezing his chest. The room turned silent, save for the last echo of that bell, now deafening inside him. He was alone. "No, no!" Tom yelled, breathing heavily. He couldn't just lose her. He needed a plan. But the shadows danced at his feet. They churned, dark and hungry. "Get away!" he shouted, stepping back. The darkness slithered closer, whispering. The mirror was still cracked, the flickering light taunting him. He had to decide. Could he confront whatever was lurking within those shadows? Just then, he felt the walls closing in. "Sarah!" he cried out one last time, but there was no response, only silence. And then a low voice rang out from the darkness. "You've awoken the truth." Tom stood frozen, terror freezing his thoughts. "What truth?" he asked, backing away. "It is time for your family to pay." And all at once shadows surged forward, swallowing him in their depths. The door creaked, the haunting bell ringing once more. Tom gasped as the darkness swallowed him. It gripped him tight, squeezing the air from his lungs. He couldn't see anything but black. Cold seeped into his bones. "Sarah!" he yelled. His voice echoed, swallowed by the void. No answer, just silence. "Please, where are you?" Panic surged. He felt something tug at his foot. A shadow, perhaps? He stumbled back, fear racing through his veins. "Get away!" he shouted into the emptiness. His heart pounded against his chest. A figure emerged from the darkness, tall and looming. "Welcome," it said, voice smooth and terrible. "So much has been awoken." "Who are you? What do you want?" Tom stepped back cautiously, fists raised. "I'm here for your family." The figure advanced, a shimmer of light caught within the shadows. "I don't know what you're talking about." He backed up further, but there was nowhere to go. "Your sister, Sarah, she's part of this. Leave her alone." He choked on his words, fear boiling in his throat. The shadow took another step closer. "You can't hide from what's been buried. That's the curse of this home." "Curse?" "Yes, Tom. You didn't think your family's secrets would remain hidden forever?" He shook his head, panic fueling his anger. "Secrets? What secrets?" The figure paused. "You'll find out soon enough." Suddenly, a flash of light erupted from the ground. Tom shielded his eyes, stumbling. The brightness flickered, revealing walls lined with mirrors. In each reflection he saw faces, his mother, his father, Sarah, all looking back at him, their expressions twisted in fear. "What is this?" he yelled. "Reflections of the past," the figure replied, the shadows swirling around him. "A reminder of what's been taken and what will be lost." "Stop!" Tom shouted. "Just tell me about Sarah." The figure laughed, a chilling sound that echoed in the darkness. "You won't save her, not until the truth is faced." Then from the big mirror in front of him, his father's face appeared. Tom, his heart dropped. "Dad, get out," his father said. "Get out while you can." "What do you mean? Where's Sarah?" "She's still here, but you need to leave. We can't." Before he could finish, the mirror cracked. Light beamed through, and Tom felt drawn toward it. "No, don't," the shadow commanded, but it was too late. Tom lunged forward, reaching for the crack. Bright light enveloped him. He screamed as it pulled him through the fissure. He landed on the floor, gasping. He was back in the attic. The air was stale, and the room was unchanged. The trunk rested nearby, now closed. "Sarah!" he called out, fear creeping back in. Silence answered. The walls felt alive, closing in. "Sarah!" he yelled louder. Nothing. He stood, disoriented. The attic was just as he had left it, but a weight pressed on his chest. Then came a noise, a soft tapping from the trunk. Tom edged closer. "Sarah," he whispered. "Tap, tap." His heart raced. The tapping grew more insistent. He gathered his courage, sweat on his brow, and placed his hands on the trunk. "Sarah, if you're in there, I'm coming." With a deep breath, he threw open the lid. Inside lay papers, photos, and a diary, its pages turning as if stirred by an unseen wind. "Why won't you stay shut?" he murmured, confusion clouding his mind. Then a soft whimper came from within. "Tom?" It was Sarah. "Sarah!" he gasped, pulling more papers aside. "I thought I lost you. Help me. I don't know where I am." Her voice trembled, heavy with panic. "Hold on!" He reached into the trunk, searching for her, but the darkness stirred. Shadows poured from the trunk, rolling like fog. They wrapped around his legs, binding him. "Tom!" she cried, voice now distant. "Sarah!" He flailed, desperation clawing at him. The lid of the trunk slammed shut on its own. "Don't!" he yelled, slamming his fists against the wood. From the darkness the figure reappeared, smirking. "Too late! Let her go!" Tom screamed, squirming against the grip of shadows. Not until you face your fears, Tom, the shadow replied. Not until you decide what you're willing to sacrifice. Sacrifice? Yes. The truth comes at a cost. The air grew heavy, filled with whispers of desperate voices, echoes of the past. What happened to our family? The shadow tilted its head, eyes glinting. You want the truth? You'll have to pay for it. I'll do anything, he shouted. Anything to save her. The figure paused, drawn to his desperation. Then ask yourself, what do you value most? Tom shook his head. I don't understand. Light flickered. Shadows shifted. What will you give up? Your memories? Your future? Sarah, he shouted. I'll give anything. Just tell me how to save her. Laughter filled the room, echoing harshly. Very well, the figure said, its voice dropping to a whisper. But it's not without its consequences. What do you mean? The ground beneath him trembled. The darkness thickened, swirling rapidly. Choose wisely. In that moment, the trunk burst open again. Inside, shadows writhed and surged. Tom! Sarah's voice was panicked, desperate. He reached for her. I'm here. Just hold on. The shadow entity loomed. What will you sacrifice? Stop! He yelled at the figure. Just tell me how to save her. Answer me, Tom, it taunted, or she will be no more. The shadows engulfed him. The voices grew louder, drowning out his thoughts. Tom! Sarah cried. Sarah! He screamed, and then darkness fell over him again. Tom! In that abyss the shadows roared, drowning his pleas. The final echo of the bell rang out, leaving nothing but silence, and the attic stood empty. The attic stood still, shrouded in silence, as the last echoes of the bell faded into nothingness. The trunk lay open, its contents scattered across the floor like forgotten memories. Dust hung in the air, thick and suffocating. Tom blinked, heart racing. Sarah! He called out, frantic. No response, just the eerie stillness of the attic. Sarah! He shouted, voice cracking. Nothing. He moved through the thick air, the light from the one window casting shadows that danced mockingly. His heart pounded against his ribcage. Where are you? The trunk continued to tremble. Papers rustled as if stirred by an unseen hand. Tom felt a heat rise in his chest. This can't be happening, he muttered. With a deep breath, he leaned over the trunk, eyes darting around. Sarah, if you're in there, I'll find you. The house creaked. A chill rushed through him. He picked up the diary that had fallen. It was heavy in his hands. Torn pages whispered secrets he didn't want to hear. What do you want? He shouted. Just come back. He tossed the diary down in frustration, still scanning the room. You can't do this to us. Then a cold breeze swept through the attic. The light flickered. Shadows lunged toward him with sharp angles. He felt the fear creeping in again. Stop! He yelled, bracing himself against the trunk. I want my sister back. You can't take her. The shadows curled and twisted. You will pay for the truth, a voice whispered from behind him. Tom spun around. A figure stood at the edge of the light, face obscured. Who are you? He demanded. Your family's legacy, the figure said, voice smooth and chilling. What do you mean? Tom clenched his fists. Secrets don't stay buried, Tom. They rise again. A wave of anger surged in him. Shut up. You don't know anything. I know you. Tom, what's that supposed to mean? Laughter echoed, chilling the air further. It means you can't outrun your past. The shadows shifted closer, coalescing into shapes he couldn't comprehend. Give her back, he cried, stepping forward defiantly. A glimmer of light caught his eye. It emanated from the diary sprawled on the floor. Open it, the figure said almost eagerly. No, Tom replied, shaking his head. I won't. Open it, and you'll find your answer. Tom took a step back. The shadows lunged again. You think you can scare me? Fear holds power, Tom. Family power. Leave my family out of this, he shouted, voice trembling. Too late. The trunk shook violently. Papers flew, swirling around his head like a storm. Get away from me, he yelled, swatting at the swirling chaos. The laughter grew, twisting into shrieks. You cannot hide! No! I won't let you take her! Tom turned to the trunk, reaching for the diary despite the threat looming behind him. Tom! A voice broke through the chaos. Sarah! His heart leapt. Help! I'm here! Where? He dashed to the diary, instinct guiding him. What do you want? Find me! You have to believe! I do! He yelled back. but the laughter drowned her voice. "Tom!" the figure said, voice low and insistent. "Do you truly want to save her?" "Of course." "Then you must face what you fear the most." The shadows flickered, revealing the haunting faces of his family, memories etched in their features. Their eyes pleaded with him. "How?" Tom shouted, heart racing. "Open the diary, Tom. Unravel your past." "No way," he yelled. "That's a trap." "Then let her go." "That's not— Open it." Tom hesitated. The shadows crept closer, longing for him. Sarah's voice faded, replaced by an echoing whisper. "Tom, you have to choose." "Choose?" he shouted back, panic flooding his chest. "Yes!" He lunged for the diary, flicking it open. Before he could read, the shadows surged, crashing into him. A violent force knocked him to the ground. "Tom!" Sarah cried from somewhere beyond. Pressure filled the room, squeezing him. With every ounce of strength, he yelled, "Leave her alone!" The shadows twisted, swarming him, but he fought through, desperate. "Show yourself!" he roared. Light flickered from the diary, illuminating the room with blinding radiance. The shadows shrank back, and the figure dissolved in the light. Footsteps echoed. "Tom!" A familiar voice rang out. "Dad!" He looked up, eyes wide. "Tom, you need to listen." His heart raced. "Where's Sarah?" "She's in danger." "What?" "No, focus. This is about her, not us." "Open the diary," his father said, urgency lighting his face. "You have to." "Why? What do you know?" Then the room trembled again, the shadows creeping closer. "Because she's the key." "What do you mean?" "Your family history is tied to her. It always has been." "Stop! I don't care about that!" The shadows leapt, growling, hungry for the light. "Tom!" his father said urgently. "Open it now! I'm not letting you take her!" Tom shouted, steel in his voice. "Tom!" In that moment, an explosion of light surged through the attic. It illuminated the shadows, sending them shrinking back momentarily. The echo of the bell rang out, louder than ever. "Get away!" Tom yelled, and with a swift motion he tore open the diary. Pages fluttered wildly, revealing scrawled entries from the past. "What is this?" His father stepped forward, peering over his shoulder. "No, don't read those." "Why?" "They're lies." Panic rippled in his voice. "They'll take you in." "Don't say that!" The shadows roared, closing in again. "Tom, make your choice." "Tom, listen, it's a trick," his father shouted. "But I need to see." A deafening crash echoed behind him as another shadow emerged, growing bigger and darker. Dread clawed at his throat. "Sarah!" he cried, voice cracking. The shadows surged with a renewed force, rushing toward him. "She belongs to us." The attic shook violently, filling with dark chaos. The last thing Tom saw was the expression on his father's face. Fear, desperation, a look he had never seen before. And then the darkness swallowed him whole. The door slammed shut behind him. Tom was lost in the void again. "No!" he screamed into the blackness. "Not again!" And there, in the suffocating stillness, an echo of Sarah's voice lingered, faint and broken. "Tom." Darkness swallowed the sound into a deafening silence. He was alone. Tom stood alone in the darkness, breathless. The silence pressed against him like a heavy blanket. Sarah's voice hung in the air, a fading whisper that gnawed at his heart. "Tom." "Sarah?" he called into the void, but the only response was silence. "Come on!" he yelled, desperation pouring from him. "Just tell me where you are." Nothing, just the emptiness and a creeping dread that wrapped around him. "Please!" he shouted, feeling his voice stretch thin. "You can't just leave me here." The shadows around him were still, like a predator waiting to pounce. He took a step forward, his heart racing in his chest. Instinct drove him. He had to find her. "Sarah, I will find you," he said, hoping his words would resonate somewhere in the dark. Just then, a figure stepped out from the shadows. It was a woman, tall and gaunt, her face obscured. She lingered, flickering like a candle. Tom's heart skipped. "Who are you?" His voice wavered. "Your fate is intertwined with the one you seek," she said, her tone hollow and distant. "What does that mean?" he pressed, fear clawing at his insides. "Only you can reveal the truth," she continued, her eyes piercing into him. "But truths can bind you, or they can break you." "Get to the point," he barked. "Where's Sarah?" The woman merely smiled, a cruel twist of her lips. "Time is running out. You must choose wisely, Tom." "Choose what?" he shouted. "I just want to see her." The air thickened. He could feel the pressure build, as if the house itself was alive, breathing down his neck. "Face it, Tom. This isn't just about Sarah. Stop circling around. Tell me what you know." Suddenly, the room trembled. Dark tendrils vied for his feet, hungry for a chance to pull him into the abyss. "Reveal your secrets, Tom," the woman hissed, "or lose everything." No more hesitation. He had to act. "I won't let you take her," he said, gathering courage. The shadows screeched, and he lunged toward the figure. "Tell me!" he demanded. "I cannot!" she shrieked, as the shadows wrapped tighter around her. "It must come from you!" "From me?" He stumbled backward, lost. Then, out of nowhere, bright light exploded from the diary. The shadows retreated, hissing in pain. Tom shielded his eyes, the warmth wrapping around him. "Open it!" the woman screamed, her voice distorted by the glow. "You must see!" With a surge of determination, Tom threw open the diary. Pages rustled furiously as the light washed over him, illuminating the past. "Tom, what's happening?" Sarah's urgent voice cut through the chaos, sharp and clear. "Sarah!" he shouted, spinning around, searching for her. "Where are you?" "I'm—" A sudden crashing noise erupted behind him. "Get back!" he yelled, turning to see a wall implode, revealing a hidden room. The force of the explosion sent Tom tumbling. He hit the floor hard and sprang back to his feet. The dust settled as he stared into the darkness of the newly revealed space, and then he saw her. "Sarah!" Relief surged through him. "Tom!" she cried, stepping into the light, but her face twisted with pain. "You have to help me!" "What happened?" he shouted, pushing through the debris. In that moment, the woman in the shadows hissed, "You're too late." "Shut up," Tom yelled, rushing toward Sarah. "What do I do?" "Listen to me." She held out her hand. There was urgency in her eyes. "You have to let go. Let go of everything. The truth is in the shadows." "No!" he protested. "Not without you." "Trust me." She was scared, but her resolve strengthened. "This is the only way." The shadows around them shrieked, swirling like a tornado, and the floor shook beneath their feet. "Sarah!" he pleaded desperately. "I can't lose you." The woman in the shadows laughed, a bone-chilling sound. "It's already begun." A sudden flash of light erupted, enveloping Sarah. She screamed, and Tom lunged toward her, but was thrown back by a powerful force. "No!" he shouted as the light consumed her. When it faded, Tom found himself alone in the dark again. The shadows writhed hungrily at his feet. "No!" he gasped, backing away. "Not again." But then a figure emerged from the depths, familiar and haunting, the silhouette of his mother. "Mom," he whispered, confusion flooding him. "Tom," she said, her voice soft yet commanding, "you must listen to me." "Why are you here?" His heart raced. "Where's Sarah?" "She's still trapped," she explained, her eyes filled with an intensity he had never seen. "The truth must be faced." "What truth?" He felt anger and frustration boiling inside him. "The truth about our family." "About what you're capable of." Tom shook his head. "You don't know what you're talking about. I just want her back." "Your anger clouds your mind," she said sharply, her expression shifting. "It has always done so. You must remember who you are." "What do you mean?" The shadows churned around him, closing in. "Stop!" he yelled, feeling overwhelmed. "Tom, you carry the weight of our history. Do not let it drown you," she said, her form flickering. "What are you saying? Just tell me how to save Sarah!" In an explosive moment, the shadows erupted, and from them, a figure in white emerged. It was Sarah, but she changed. There was something in her expression, something darker. "Sarah?" Tom's voice wavered. "What's wrong with you?" he asked, his heart racing. And then she smiled, but it wasn't the smile he loved. "Did you really think I was lost?" she asked, her voice dripping with something unsettling. "Sarah, I am the truth," she said, dark energy swirling around her. "And you unleashed me." Tom stumbled back, fear tightening in his chest. "What did you do?" "Everything we buried is finally free. Is this why you wanted me to let go?" The realization shocked him. "Yes." She laughed, the sound hollow and chilling. "You were never meant to save me." "Then what the hell are you?" The shadows surged, enveloping Tom. He felt their grip tightening, fear clawing at his throat. The room was alive with chaos, and for the first time he didn't know if he could fight it. "Tom!" his mother pleaded, fading within the chaos. And as Sarah stepped forward, the lines blurred, the shadows roared, the light flickering. He was caught between the past and a devastating truth. "Choose," Sarah echoed, voice drowning in the shadows. "What will you become?" And with that, the darkness closed in on him, deeper than before, leaving him with only one haunting thought. What was Sarah willing to sacrifice? "Tom!" her voice echoed, but it felt distant now. He was lost. He was trapped. Tom stood frozen, consumed by confusion. Shadows swirled around him, thick and heavy. The air felt charged, electric. "What did you do?" he shouted, trying to break through the chaos. "I freed the truth," Sarah's voice echoed, detached. The truth was always there, buried under memories. You just had to let it out. Let it out? He felt anger surge, mixing with fear. "You're not making sense." The shadows thrummed in response, closing in. "Listen to her," came his mother's voice, rising above the chaos. "You need to understand." "I don't need to understand anything," he yelled. "Where's Sarah? The real Sarah?" "The real Sarah is gone," the shadow Sarah said, her smile twisted. "I'm what's left." "No!" Tom grabbed his head, as if he could block her voice. "This isn't real." "Oh, it's real," she laughed. "You let the darkness in. It's part of you now." "No, I'm not like you. I'd argue otherwise." The shadows danced eagerly, licking at his feet. Tom couldn't focus. "Get away from me!" He turned, searching for a way out, but the room pressed in. The walls felt like they were closing. "Tom!" his mother cried. "You need to fight!" "Fight what? This thing isn't Sarah!" There was desperation in his voice. "Face your fears!" she yelled, fading into the shadows. "Don't go!" But she was gone. The light from the diary flickered and dimmed, casting eerie shapes. "Tom!" Sarah screamed. "You have to choose." "Choose what?" "Her or me!" A loud crack filled the air. The floor shook violently. "What do you mean?" "I'm tired of pretending," Shadow Sarah snarled, voice twisting. "You can't keep running from the truth. It's right in front of you." A flash of light erupted. The shadows recoiled, revealing a secret door ajar behind the trunk. "Tom, go!" Sarah shouted. "You need to find it." "What?" He ran towards the door, heart pounding. "What's behind there?" "Everything!" Before he reached it, the dark energy surged. Shadows clawed at him, pulling him back. "Tom, please!" He fought against it, panic rising. "Let me go!" With a swift motion, he shoved the trunk aside. The door opened wider, revealing a steep staircase leading down. "Tom, go!" Sarah urged, her voice a frantic whisper. "No!" Shadow Sarah hissed, lunging forward. "He can't. He must stay here with me." The walls vibrated with energy, shadows howling. Tom made a desperate leap for the stairs. "Tom!" Sarah shouted, but he was already sliding down. The air grew colder. He hit the bottom, tumbling into a dark room. It was too quiet. Then he heard breathing, deep, raspy breathing. "What is this place?" From the corner of the room, a figure emerged, cloaked in shadows. Tom's heart raced. "Who are you?" "I am what you hide from," the figure said. "You brought this on yourself." "What do you mean?" "Your choices have consequences. You've awakened something that should have remained buried." "I just wanted to save Sarah." The figure stepped into the dim light. It was a man, familiar, yet strange. "Dad?" The shadows shifted. "You don't know the whole story." "What the hell does that mean?" Tom demanded, fear prickling at him. "It's more than just Sarah. It's about the family. Our family. You've unleashed our past." "Enough!" Tom shouted. "Stop hiding!" "I can't protect you from this truth," his father replied. "Protect me from what?" Suddenly the ground shook violently. A loud crack echoed through the room, splitting the floor beneath them. "What's happening?" Tom shouted, panic flooding him. "I warned you," the figure cried out. "The darkness craves what it lost." From above, shadows cascaded down, swirling wildly. The figure reached for Tom. "You need to choose, Tom. Now." "Choose what?" he screamed, fear pinching every word. But before he could process, Tom felt a rush, cold and dark. It pulled him back towards the steps. "Tom!" "No!" his father shouted, but it was too late. The shadows engulfed him, dragging him back towards the light. "Sarah!" he screamed, as everything went black again. And then, silence. Only the echo of a distant bell rang out, leaving him suspended in darkness. Tom stood in the darkness, breathing hard. His heart pounded. "Sarah!" he shouted, voice echoing against nothing. "Tom!" Her voice reached him, faint but clear. "Where are you? I can't see you." He strained to listen. "I'm here," she cried. "But you need to hurry." "Why?" he yelled. "What's happening?" "The shadows! They're coming!" Tom felt a jolt in his chest. He couldn't let them take her. "I'm coming!" He stumbled forward, fists clenched. "Below!" she shouted. "In the dark!" Before he could react, the floor shook. "Hold on!" he yelled. He pushed through the darkness. "Tom, now!" Sarah cried, voice breaking. He glanced around. Where was she? "Where are you?" "Over here!" she called. "Don't stop!" He lunged toward her voice, but shadows emerged, thick and relentless. "No!" he shouted, raising his arms to shield himself. Then he saw her, a figure in the blackness. "Sarah!" he gasped. But it wasn't her. It was a darker version. "What's happening?" he yelled, panic rising. "Tom, don't trust her," shouted his father, appearing suddenly. "That's not your sister." "Get down," came a new voice. It was Sarah's. "Run!" Tom turned. "Where?" "To the stairs," she urged. "Quick!" He dashed towards the voice, but the shadows pulled at his feet. "Help!" he yelled, fighting against them. "Tom!" his father shouted, reaching out, but the shadows swallowed him whole. "No! Dad!" Tom felt cold air wrap around him. It pushed him back. He stumbled, desperate to reach his sister. "Tom!" she cried, fear piercing her words. "Don't give in!" "I won't!" he roared back. "I'll never lose you!" The blackness shifted. Dark shapes began to form. Something broke through. A blinding light erupted, and Tom shielded his eyes. "What's happening?" he gasped, peering through the crack. "Get inside!" Sarah yelled from the light. "Quick!" He ran toward her, heart racing. "I'm coming!" But the shadows lashed out, snapping around him. He felt a grip around his arm. "Don't stop! Keep moving!" Sarah's voice fell into a panicked whisper. He yanked free, sprinting forward. The light grew. He collided with it, spilling into an open room. "Sarah!" he gasped, glancing around. The light faded, revealing cracked walls. "Tom!" she shouted again, voice echoing. "I'm here!" he breathed, scanning the room. "But where are you?" Her voice flickered. "In the mirror!" He turned, just as the shadows lunged again, reaching for him. He jumped back. "Get away! Just trust me!" Sarah pleaded. Tom lunged for the mirror, cold dread crawling up his back. "You've got to be kidding. Don't think about it. Just jump!" He hesitated, then made a leap toward the glass. Crack! The mirror shattered. Splinters flew, scattering in all directions. He gasped as sharp edges cut at his hands. "Now!" she cried. "Go through!" He dove into the shards, feeling a rush of cold air engulf him. Suddenly, the room burst apart. "Tom!" Sarah screamed. He slammed into something solid, a wall, a floor, everything spinning. He landed hard, dazed. "Sarah!" he called out, voice hoarse. She didn't answer. Rolling over, he pushed himself up. The air was heavy, stifling. Shadows trembled at the edge of his vision. They loomed, eager and dark. "What the hell?" he muttered. Then he heard her gasp. "Tom, look out!" Before he could react, a form detached itself from the darkness. It was his father, but he looked different. Anger twisted his features. "Dad?" Tom asked, confused. "You let them in!" his father shouted, eyes ablaze. "You set this loose!" "Set what loose?" "This is your doing!" "Stop!" "Tom!" Sarah's voice cut through the chaos. She stepped out of the shadows. "He's lying!" His father's gaze shifted. "You think she's safe? Look at her!" "Don't listen to him!" Sarah shouted, pushing forward. "We're in this together!" Then, with a deafening roar, shadows erupted. They rushed at Tom, swallowing him whole again. He fell, tumbling into darkness. The last thing he heard was Sarah's voice. "Tom, don't let them take you." And then he was gone. Tom lay in the shadowy void, breathless. The air was thick, wrapping around him like a heavy blanket. "Sarah!" he shouted, the sound of his voice echoing in the silence. "Tom!" Her voice was distant, yet clear. "You have to wake up. It's not over." He bolted upright, heart racing. "I'm here! Where are you?" he cried, searching the endless dark. Follow my voice, Sarah urged, desperation threaded through her tone. You have to believe. I do believe. He moved forward, feeling the ground tremble beneath him. But where are you? Just keep going, she encouraged. You're almost there. With every step the shadows coiled around him. Darkness lurked, whispering, threatening to pull him back. No, I won't let you take me, he yelled. Tom! Sarah's voice was sharper now. You have to face it. The truth! He felt hot anger rise. What truth? He shouted into the void. I don't understand. A flicker of light caught his eye. Look, she cried. In the distance. It's a way out. Tom rushed towards it, fighting against the shadows that clawed at him. You won't stop me, he declared, pushing through. The light expanded, revealing a door ajar. He burst through and found himself back in the attic, breathless and wide-eyed. The room felt alive, buzzing with energy. Sarah, he called again, scanning for her. I'm here, she answered, materializing from the shadows, spirit bright but worn. He reached for her. Are you okay? Better now, she sighed, pushing back a lock of hair. But we have to finish this. Suddenly the walls vibrated. The shadows writhed, taking shape. You can't escape your fate, a low voice growled. Tom took a step forward, anger flaring. You don't control us. We're not afraid anymore. The shadowy figure lunged, but Tom felt a surge of courage. He moved beside Sarah, their hands clasped tight. Together! They shouted in unison. Light burst forth from their joined hands, pushing back the shadows. You don't own us, Sarah declared, and with a final wave, they flung the light into the heart of the darkness. The air exploded with brilliance. Shadows screeched, retreating as blinding light engulfed them. Tom held tightly to Sarah, feeling the warmth shift around them, and then silence. The shadows dissolved into nothingness. Tom blinked, the attic now bright and clear. We did it, he gasped, breathless with wonder, but in the stillness a new weight settled. What about the secrets? Sarah asked, her eyes wide. Will they return? Let them come, Tom replied, determination flowing through him. We faced the darkness. We can face whatever comes next. As dawn broke through the attic window, they stood strong, ready for whatever awaited. Together, they whispered. And that bell that had once echoed in his chest, its ring had faded. Instead, a soft sound of hope filled the quiet attic. But just then, a wisp of shadow curled around the corner. Tom and Sarah looked at each other, heartbeats quickening. Did you see that? Tom asked. Yeah, she replied, unease creeping back. Guess it's not over yet, he said, staring into the darkness that still lingered. The sun shone bright, yet shadows danced in the corners of the room. What secrets still lay ahead for them? Don't miss out on what happens next. You need to subscribe now so you never miss an exclusive story. This is the moment to show your support. Press that like button now to feed the algorithm. We want to hear from you, so comment with your reactions and theories about this wild ending. And don't wait another second to share this story with at least 5 friends who need to know what happens. Help us spread the word.